Hello, welcome to Azure Kubernetes Deployment Series Part 19. In this series, we are going to learn how to deploy microservices into a case cluster using Argo CD through Azure Pipeline. In our previous lab, we have already discussed how we can deploy microservices into Minikube by using by creating the Argo CD application using the Argo CD dashboard and also by creating the Argo CD application using the manifest files with CRD application and application set. So in our previous lessons, we have deployed it into Minikube cluster and the images we have kept in the Docker hub. And from there, the manifest file was reading the Docker images and deploying it into the Minikube cluster. And all those steps we have done using the command line. But in this lab, we are going to do it. We are going to automate it using Azure Pipeline. So before going to that, let's just provision the Azure resources first. We need to create the AKS cluster and the ACR, I mean Azure Container Registry. So for that, let's follow the steps. We need to log into the Azure. I have already logged in, and I need to run the script that will help in creating the Azure Container Registry and the AKS cluster. Then we can log into the AKS cluster using this command AKS get credential. Let me do one thing because since we are going to automate it, so I have to create a Azure ACR service connection. So the existing one anyway, because I have deleted the previous resources, so I need to create it again. For that, I need to delete the existing one. Let me delete it. Okay, so it will get deleted. It will get deleted. Let me create a new one. So here we can go to Docker registry, then we'll go next. We'll select Azure Container Registry, create a service principal. Then it will ask for the credential. So let me log in with this. It will ask for sending a notification. Let me approve this. Let me approve. Yeah, this is 80. So let me approve. Use pin, then 9845. Okay, so I just approved it. Now you can see the container registry got created. If you go, it is ACR got created, but AK still is in progress. So I can use this Azure Container Registry, and I'll use the same service connection. I'll grant access and save it. And this ACR service connection I have already included in my DevOps library. If you can see here, go to this and we'll go to the library here, library, and under common library, I have already named it ACR service connection, and then name is same thing, ACR service connection that I have created. So I'll include this in my pipeline. I'll let you know where I'm using that. Okay, so the next step is so as we have created a service connection for ACR to the pipeline will connect to that, and it will build the images and send push into that Azure Content Registry. Okay, so next step what we have to do is if I'll go to the pipeline here, next step we see, if you go, I have created 5 pipelines here: config, order, product, RabbitMSSQ, and storefront. Okay, now if you go to one of these service here this is the build pipeline. This mainly create it will build the image and push into the other content registry. I have already discussed this one in previous labs as well. Then what we have to do here is, since we are using Argo CD, in this scenario we don't have any release pipeline, only we have the CI, continuous integration pipeline. In that case, it will just build the Docker image, push it into the Azure content registry, and then what it will do is Yeah, one more thing I have to explain here is whenever we are using Argo CD, in that case, we are going to use two repository. The first repository is our application development repository. I named here is like Kubernetes 19 development. So here our source code will have to keep, and any DevOps pipeline, whatever we need, that we need to keep here. Okay. So here what it will do, our source code and the pipeline. The pipeline will be used to create the Docker images and push it into the container registry. Okay, but we have another repository we need to create that will used by the Argo CD, and it will be the source of truth for the Kubernetes deployment. That means any changes, whenever we do any changes to the manifests, whatever manifest we have, in this case, I will use this manifest. This is nothing, the Helm chart for each of the services. Okay, individual services. I have kept the Helm chart, and in that I have the values.yaml file. You can see here. Okay, so this values.yaml file, whenever we need change, uh, we'll change this tag, right? You can see here the tag we are using, right? So these tags, whenever there is a change in tag, then Argo CD automatically reconcile it, sync it, and deploy it into the cluster. Okay, that we'll see how it will happen. Okay, so yeah, so this is our manifest that we need to keep in our source of truth repository, and also we need to create some Argo CD applications. So Argo CD application is nothing, it is a manifest file that will link to the manifest file for the cluster that need to be deployed. Okay, so if you go one of these Argo CD application, here you can see we are using CRD application. Okay, and here we are using our source of repository. This is our source of repository. That is nothing, the Kubernetes 19 deployment. Okay, the development basically will use for keeping our source code and the pipeline, but the deployment repository, that is the Argo CD source of truth, where we have to keep our manifest file and the Argo CD application YAML files. Okay, so here this is our source of truth, and we have to mention where is our manifest files are there. Okay, so you can see this is our folder where it is keeping the manifest file. You can see manifest where I'm using here multi Helm chart. Okay, just named it at multi Helm chart because I have multiple Helm chart for the different services, and here I specified order. So this is a Argo CD application that is responsible for deploying the uh, order service. Okay, it will point to the order manifest and it will try to deploy into the EKS cluster. Okay, and one more thing is our destination is nothing, our cluster. Okay, EKS cluster, and namespace I'm using here dev. Okay, and if you see the sync policy is automated, it will automatically syncs if any changes will happen to this manifest file when we will change the values.yaml. Okay, so it will automatically synced. Okay, that will see how it will happen. Okay, so that I'm not explaining everything, it will be same for all the services, product, and as well as storefront. Okay, and these are the respective manifest file for the corresponding services. Okay, yeah, if you see now our cluster is got created. Now what we'll do, we'll go to here and we'll log into our cluster first. Okay, let me just log into cluster here. Just execute this. I'll use this alias for simplicity. Okay, now if we'll try whether we are able to log into, I mean able to access to the EKS cluster, we can see we are able to access it. Then what we have to do, the next step is that we need to deploy the Argo CD into our EKS cluster. In our previous section, if you you have gone through that, you can see like we have deployed the Argo CD in Minikube cluster. Okay, and in this lab we are using EKS, so we are going to deploy Argo CD in the Azure Kubernetes cluster. Okay, so for that same thing I'll follow here. I have to create a new namespace for the Argo CD, and there I have to deploy the Argo CD using this kubectl command. Okay, so this is nothing, a manifest file that is available, and I am just deploying using the kubectl apply command. Then what I have to do, so in order to access, we can provide a load balancer or ingress, but for this lab I'm just using port forward. just locally to access the Argo CD server. Okay, now we did this, so now we can access using this. Okay, now let me go to the browser and try to access the Argo CD. Yeah, because it is not secure, so it will ask that. Now I'll go to another terminal and I'll try to get the password for the Argo CD. Let me see, this is my password, and my users will be always admin. Okay, then password will be this one. Okay, let me sign it. Okay, I have signed into it, the Argo CD now. Okay, I'm able to access it, and from, if you want to use this one, right, from the, if you want to log in from the command line to the server, you can use this one. You can execute it. Okay, we have logged in successfully. The next step is this server, Argo CD server should as a, since it will use a repository as a source of truth, so we need to connect to that repository. Okay, so here we are going to use the deployment Kubernetes K8s19 deployment repository. So for that, what we have to do is we need to take this. Okay, this is deployment repository. So what we have to do is, in the Argo CD server, you have to go setting repository and connect to repository. Select here HTTPS, then project you select default, repository is our K819 deployment. Okay, so then nothing to do, we'll just make it successfully connected. Okay, now our Argo CD server connected to the source of truth repository. Okay, the next step is that we need to create some of the Argo CD application, and the Argo CD application responsibility is to use the manifest and deploy into the AKS cluster. So for that, I have already created here. If you go to our Kubernetes deployment repository here, these are the Argo CD application I have connected, and these Argo CD applications are pointing to the source of truth repository, and I have specified the path to which particular service it is in the manifest it is going to use. This is the path you can see here. I've mentioned here rabbit message queue and multi Helm chart. Okay, so the path I have mentioned, and this is the cluster name, and it will deploy into the environment, and the sync policy is automated. Okay, it is done for this. So I have already created this Argo CD applications, but that still we need to, because I have created these applications, but in order to link to the server, right, this application should run, right? So for that, I need to execute these commands. Okay, for the first time. Okay, now let me just execute this command from my command line. Okay, so what is happening, because I have connected. If you see, I have connected to the repository. Now I'm just executing the Argo CD applications. If you go to the application now, see, it got created. Now it is trying to sync. Okay, so here if you see the config Argo CD application, if you see config Argo CD application, I have mentioned here. If we go to, not here, in the deployment, this is config Argo CD app name, this is metadata name. Okay, that here it is displaying. Okay, just now it got created. If you see, this is rabbit message queue got created, and yeah, this is for, this is order, this is rabbit message queue, this one is, okay, so you can see here, this is is taking the namespace, and from where is using the multi Helm chart config. This is the path manifest it is using. Okay, yeah, that's it is all created. But one thing you can see, the order, product, and and the, okay, one more is not got created. Which one? Yeah, it is still there. I'm just enter. Okay, now if you see, it came. Okay, storefront. So these are still in processing. These are still in processing. Why it is in processing? Because not getting completed. Because if we go these services here, go to the values, we can see the order, the image. It is referring from the Azure Content Registry, and the tag is 630. But still, if you see if you go to my research group and this, okay, here and repository, you can see there is no Azure Content Registry still available. Sorry, the Docker images are not available. Okay, I mean it is not pushed through the pipeline to the Azure Content Registry. For that, what we need to do in our development pipeline, I have already created these pipelines. You can see order, prod, and rapid message queue. If we just go to we can just explain here. The first one, what it is, the first stage is only deploy the push the Docker images. It build and it will push into the Azure Content Registry. That I have already explained in my previous lab. The next one is once it's built, right? So it will create a new tag using the build ID, and it will update to the Docker image uh, for that service. Okay, and that need to be updated in the deployment repository. You can see this is my deployment repository. Okay, and in the deployment repository, I am using this, okay, manifest file, and it has a values. And here if you see product, for example, I'm using some tag, but this is not available now in our ACR, right? So what it will do here in the pipeline, after creating the Docker image, pushing into the Azure Content Registry, then it will update. I mean, it will do a commit and push to the deployment repository with the latest image ID. You see, this is the image ID, and it will update that values.yaml file, in which it will update in the deployment repository. Okay, this that means in the deployment repository we have this values.yaml, right, for the respective services, right? So that in this stage, update githubs. Here I'm just updating the images. Okay, so it will come here and update this, and what it will do again, it will commit it and push it. Okay, it will push to this one. Okay, so for pushing this, because I'm using Azure pipeline and it will talk to the GitHub repository, so for that we need to create a GitHub path token. Okay, in GitHub path token, how we can do that? For that, if you go to the GitHub, right, and here if you go to setting in this development, right, okay, you have to go here, services, overview. Here you have to go to setting, okay, and here there will be development schedule, application schedule, this okay, development setting, and you can new GitHub up. Yeah, you can see here personal access token, and you can go to create it. Anything you can create. You can see audio connection. Okay, you can see here I have created a path token here. Okay, and for that token we can also provide the access. uh, so after creating that, I just kept that token in the library, I mean the Azure DevOps library. So using this library, right, Kubernetes common, I'm able to access that variable. Okay, and here I'm using to push to that particular in repository, that is Kubernetes 9 deployment repository. Okay, so what it will do, it will update, it will clone it here. After cloning, it will modify the valuable.yaml file with the latest build ID or the tag, then again push it. So once as soon as we push this, the pipeline push this modification to the repository, then the Argo CD, since it is linked with that repository as a source of truth, it will automatically sync that. Okay, okay, we'll see how we will do that. So for that, what we have to do is we have to run the pipeline. So I have already created the pipeline for this. If you go here and check, I have already created this config pipeline and rabbit message queue pipeline. So these are not need to run because it is not creating images for Docker. For rabbit message queue, it is taking the image from the Microsoft repository. So you need to, it is hard coded there, the tag is hard coded, so it will automatically take it. So but in case of order, we can see. So for this thing, let me run it. So once I'll run it, it will again try to build the image, and it will push to the Docker content. Sorry, it will push it to the Azure content registry. Okay, so then this person will do build and push publish. It is not publish. It should be pushed to Azure content registry, and this part will update the GitHub's repository. Okay, so we'll see how it will take some time. And here you can see, if you go the application here, it is still processing. You can see the storefront and the product, also the order, still it is in progress, processing. But the config and the rabbit message queue, it is successfully deployed. If we can go to this, and suppose we'll try to get it. You can see here the rabbit message queue pod is running. Okay, and the order, product, and storefront are still image pull backup, because it shows that it's not finding the image. That's why it shows the status as image pull backup. Okay, if you want to see the config file, you can get it. Get config map. Okay, get config map minus n and dev. So if you see, this is our config map. It is there. Okay, so it will take some time. This pipeline, config pipeline, order pipeline. Okay, yeah, it is deployed now. Just now both are executed. Let me just run past product one also quickly. It will take some more time, because it takes more time for building the Docker image. And now if you go to this, you can see our order. It shows it is degraded. Okay, because what is happening is it is not able to, whatever tag we have mentioned, right? If you see, um, just let me show here. If you go to the repository, okay, if you go to the repository here, you can see now 19 deployment. Here you see 2 minutes ago the manifest Helm chart got updated, and if you see the product, sorry, the order update with 635. Okay, with the 635 in 2 minutes ago. Okay, 635. So it is checking, I think, uh, it updated that tag here. If you see 635 here. Okay, it updated, and the repository, it pushed into the repository. Yeah, you can see here now it is already synced. It takes some time. You can see the product and the order got synced here. If you come to the pipeline here, you can see product, it is deployed, and the order also got deployed, and it got synced. Now the third one is the storefront. Let it again run it. Yeah, let continue this. Now if you come to this, right, you can see here the order, product, and debit message queue, all pods are running, but storefront is not getting the image from the Azure content registry. Here you can see, if we see, order products are available. Okay, now just wait for a few minutes to check this also get create the Docker image and post into the Azure content registry, and it will again update the deployment repository with the latest build ID or the tag. Once it will updated into the repository, it will, the Argo CD will sync it. Okay, so here what the Argo CD does is it always try to pull the information from the deployment repository, that is the source of truth for Argo CD. And as soon as it will find any changes to that repository, it will reconcile that, and it will try to deploy into the cluster. Okay, so that is happening here. So if we see here, uh, it shows like it degraded. Okay, storefront, but now the the image is now deployed. It's available here. Okay, storefront. Now what the pipeline is doing is it is already updated the repository. You can see here if you go, okay, storefront just got updated into me just now. Okay, just now it got updated with 641 as a tag. Okay, now if you come here and you will see after a few minutes uh, it will also get synced. And here you can see here still it is waiting. Just wait for a couple of seconds, it will update here. Okay, then what we'll do, we'll just verify the uh, application, and then we'll try to do what is there. Okay, I mean, we'll again modify the application here. If we can come to the storefront and we'll modify this uh, index.html. We can see here now it is Argo CD contoso pet store. Okay, we'll verify this. Later again we'll modify this so that as soon as we'll modify and check into the repository, this will do into the dev environment. So it will trigger the pipeline. Okay, so the pipeline automatically got triggered since I have added in the repository. If it's in the pipeline, if you see here, this is my trigger. So when I change anything to the storefront, the pipeline get triggered automatically, and it will build the Docker image, push into the SCR. It will um, assign the build ID as new tag. So after that, the other stage, like the GitHub's GitHub's update stage, that will update the repository with the new tag. I mean, it will change the value.yaml. So as soon as it will get updated, the Argo CD will pick that and it will deploy into the cluster. Okay, so let's see any changes. Still, it is not updated. Let me just refresh. Okay, still it is waiting for some time. Let me just check here. Yeah, still it is there waiting for this. It will take some few minutes maybe. Okay, okay, so let just wait few seconds more. We can do it by syncing the app manually, but I just want to show you how it should be, because we have already defined it automatic, right? So it should do that. Okay, so in order to check that, let's just wait for a few seconds, because here we can do this automatically and explicitly it should sync. Okay, that I'm not going to do here. Okay, so next, yeah, so the okay, let me, yeah, it is not happening. Disconnected, right? Yeah, it is done everything, but it is not syncing. What is happening? It is trying to 638. Okay, yeah, 638, correct. Yeah. Yeah, now it's automatically it's now progressing. Yeah, healthy. it takes some time. Okay, so for that I was waiting. Okay, now if you see, it's running everything. Okay, let's quickly get the IP of the service. Okay, get sbc minus n dev. Okay, get sbc minus n dev. Now this is my IP. Okay, call it. This is 8080, and you can see Argo CD control. So here you can see this is Argo CD control, so pet store. Okay, now let do some changes here. I'll do it. Welcome to Argo CD. Okay, so let me save it. Let me then check into the repository. Okay, save it, everything. Let me sync it. So it will push to the development environment. So as soon as it will get pushed, then if you go to the pipeline here, this is product line. Here, this is the storefront pipeline. You can see it is started triggering. Okay, so this will again create a new repository. Okay, so if you see here, presently we have the 8 minutes before it created 641 as the tag. Okay, if you go inside values.yaml, this is 641. All right, or yeah, the tag is 641. Now you can find it will create a new one with 648 and it will update here. Okay, so this pipeline, it will build it, then it will push into the Azure content registry, then it will update the repository. Okay, now you can see here storefront is containing 641. Okay, now what we can do is uh, just wait few moment for continuing this one. We'll see. Docker is installed, then it's trying to build that storefront application, then it will push into the other content registry. Okay, it will take, yeah, it is done. Now if we go to here, if we refresh it, yeah, 642 got created. Okay, now you can see it is not updated here, but as soon as this will, yeah, it started now, it is trying to update. Yeah, it is updated. Okay, now if you go here and just refresh it, storefront, just now it got updated with 642. Okay, and you can see here the value will be 642, where it is, yeah, here. So this, where we're getting actually this information, right? If we go to the dev and in our pipeline, right, go to any of the pipeline, right, I'm just mentioning update image name with image tag. Okay, so that message we are showing that they are in the uh, git repository. Okay, now so now it is updated. Now you can see here it's synced, I think. Okay, with the new one, to check that whether it's synced or not. Let's go inside again. Is it took that? Yeah, 642 it took, right? Because now my latest one is 642. Okay, now let's go to the here, right, and let's see it is replicated or not. Now you can see I have just access it. In previous case, it was showing Argo CD contours page, right? I have modified it to welcome to Argo CD, and I have checked in. So checked in and pushed into the source repository. So as soon as I pushed to the source repository, and it triggered the pipeline. The pipeline build the Docker image tag with the new build ID. Then in the next stage, it also update the deployment repository, that is the source of truth of Argo CD. The Argo CD is keep on checking the deployment repository if any manifest file got changed. So the manifest file, it got changed, the values.yaml got changed with in the new build ID. So the Argo CD using its application, basically this Argo CD application, then it tried to deploy it to the AKS cluster. Okay, so now this, if we close this, and here everything is running fine. Okay, now we also verified that it got updated. Okay, so this way we see everything is happening automatically. Okay, so if you go to the development environment, repository, the in the source code. Okay, so here if you change anything and check in it, our pipeline will get triggered. The pipeline is here. This is the order, product, and storefront pipeline. This will get triggered. It will create the Docker image and push into the Azure Container Registry. And along with this, it also update the deployment repository. So as I told before, here we are maintaining two different repository. One is for source code and the pipeline. The other one is for the manifest file and the Argo CD application. That is our source of truth. And the Argo CD always keep on checking that uh, deployment repository, whether any changes happen to the manifest file. Okay, so as soon as it will find any changes, it will reconcile and deploy into the cluster. Okay, so but the pipeline, the source repository pipeline, that is usually responsible for updating our repository. Okay, so whenever there is a new build, it will update the deployment repository, and the Argo CD keep on checking that, and it will, if it find any changes, it will deploy into the cluster. Okay, so in this case, we have only two pipeline. No, sorry, only one pipeline, Azure pipeline, that is CI pipeline, continuous integration pipeline. But we don't have here any release pipeline. Okay, so if you see in my previous automation, whatever I have explained, so in that case we have CI and CD pipeline. CI is for creating the Docker images and updating the tag, okay, whatever. And the CD pipeline basically use the artifact, the as a the manifest file, and push it into the cluster. So that is a pushing mechanism, that is traditional pipeline. But in case of Argo CD, this is it is uses pull mechanism. Okay, so it keep checking the repository. So it is not like the traditional push mechanism it is using the pull mechanism. Okay, so in this case, we have the release pipeline basically being used or created or managed by the Argo CD. Okay, as a pull mechanism, while it keeps checking on the deployment repository where our manifest will there and the Argo CD applications are there. Okay, so coming to this, right, you can see all of this, our of config and Argo CD, so order, product, rabbit message, queue, and storefront. So all these are got deployed. And if we see here, this is here we have defined all these things. These are the file. If you see, this is the name, config Argo CD app and order Argo CD app. Okay, so all this we have defined here, and this is our manifest. So the deployment basically give the manifest file. Okay, so in the manifest folder here, it will keep all the Helm chart for individual services, and this is the Argo CD applications. So this Argo CD application pointing to the this repository and the path where this manifest are available. We are mentioning the config. Similarly, it will be product. Okay, it may be also storefront, like that we have mentioned here. Okay, so I think we have we saw here how it is, how we can automate the microservices application, how we can deploy into AKS cluster using Azure pipeline. Okay, using the CI pipeline for Docker build and pushing it to the Azure Container Registry, and that will also update our deployment repository. And the Argo CD keep on checking on the Argo CD, the deployment repository, and if find any changes to the manifest, then it will reconcile and deploy into the cluster. Okay, that we have seen here, right, automatically how it is syncing, as we mentioned in our Argo CD application that automate syncing. Okay, so yeah, that's all for today. Just if you find it is valuable, then just like it, share it, and also subscribe it, so that we'll get notification as soon as I'll upload any new video with some new feature. Okay, and also by the end, you can just clean your resources by using this command. Okay, sorry, it is not copied. Okay, so thank you so much for watching the video, and um, wait for the next video, and till then, bye. Thank you, bye bye.